Have you ever felt a sound that shakes you to your core? A noise so raw it doesn't even feel human? Not yelling, not crying, something deeper than that. A noise that comes from a place beyond language. The kind your body makes when your brain simply can't process reality anymore. Yesterday, I heard that sound inside a federal courtroom. It came from a man who had just learned he would never walk free again. Not in 10 years, not in 20, not ever. The judge delivered the sentence calmly, almost mechanically, no emotion, no theatrics, just procedure. This court sentences you to life in federal prison. Then she added the words that truly ended everything. With no possibility of release under any circumstances. Before she could continue, the man made a noise I'll never forget. It wasn't speech, it wasn't even a scream. It was a howl, raw, broken, animal. His mouth fell open, his chest heaved, and this awful guttural sound tore through the silence of the courtroom. His eyes rolled back, his legs locked, and then he dropped straight to the floor, still making that sound. Then, silence. The case had been crushing from the very start. Multiple counts of first-degree murder, tied to an organized criminal operation that ran for years. Prosecutors could have pursued the federal death penalty. They didn't. Instead, they chose something colder, life without release. The evidence against him wasn't just strong, it was overwhelming. Cameras placed him near several crime scenes. Ballistics matched weapons registered in his name. Former associates testified that he funded and directed the killings. Bank records showed payments to the shooters. Cell phone data tracked him to planning meetings. Everything connected, layer after layer, brick after brick. The defense tried to poke holes in it all. They questioned witnesses, suggested alternative theories, claimed investigators overreached, but nothing stuck. Nothing created doubt. When the jury deliberated, they were gone only 8 hours. In a case this complex, that speed says everything. There was no debate, no hesitation, just certainty. Guilty on every single count. Yesterday was sentencing. The courtroom was packed. Families of the victims sat clutching photographs. Some held hands so tightly their knuckles turned white. Officers filled the back rows. Reporters lined the walls. Then the defendant was led in, chains at his ankles, handcuffs tight around his wrists. He looked empty, almost hollow. One by one, family members spoke. Mothers talked about sons who never came home. Children described growing up without fathers. Spouses explained what it's like to rebuild a life that's been shattered forever. The grief in that room felt heavy, like the air itself had weight. Still, he didn't react. He just stared straight ahead. The prosecutor stood next, methodically outlining the cruelty, the planning, the total absence of remorse. She said only one sentence could protect society. Only one punishment matched the damage done: life. The defense talked about childhood, hardship, the idea of rehabilitation, but everyone already knew. It didn't matter. The law was clear. This man was never leaving prison. The only question was whether there would ever be even the slightest chance of release. Then the judge began. She reviewed everything: the evidence, the victims, the leadership role he played, the years of violence. She spoke about accountability, about public safety, about consequences. Finally, she looked directly at him. "Do you wish to say anything?" He shook his head. She asked him to stand. He grabbed the table to steady himself. His lawyer placed a hand on his shoulder, and then came the final words. She explained that although life imprisonment was mandatory, the court still had discretion about one thing: whether any future release could ever be possible. She said she had considered every factor: age, background, theoretical rehabilitation. She rejected them all: the scale of harm, the number of lives destroyed, the complete lack of remorse. There would be no mercy. No parole, no commutation, no compassionate release, no review. Life in federal prison for the remainder of your natural life. That's when it happened. That sound, that awful primal howl ripped out of him again. His body just gave up, his knees folded. He slammed onto the floor. The scream cut off mid-breath. For a second, nobody moved. Then chaos. Marshals rushed forward. Lawyers knelt beside him. Someone called for medics. He wasn't responding. Paramedics said the stress had overloaded his system. His nervous system basically short-circuited. His body fainted under psychological shock. When he came to, he looked confused. "Where am I?" he asked. "In court," someone said. "Why?" "You were just sentenced to life without release." And he started screaming again. They had to sedate him. He was taken to the hospital. Later, the judge reconvened without him and made it official. The sentence stands. Life without release means exactly what it says. No parole, no countdown, no second chance. He will likely spend decades inside a maximum security cell, locked away most hours of every day. Presidential pardons are almost non-existent. Compassionate release is rare. Realistically, he will die there. What broke him wasn't the word life. He probably expected that. What shattered him was finality. The understanding that hope itself was gone. No date to circle on a calendar, no someday, just endless time. That scream wasn't fear, it was the sound of a human mind realizing the future had completely disappeared. For the families, emotions were mixed: relief, exhaustion, closure. Nothing can bring their loved ones back, but at least he will never hurt anyone again. Appeals will come. They always do. They will almost certainly fail. The sentence followed the law, so now what's left for him is routine. Days measured not in years, but in repetition. Not in choices, but confinement. Not in hope, just time. And that sound, that terrible broken howl, that's the sound of someone realizing everything ahead of them has already been decided, forever. And that is what life without release truly means. Not just prison for the body, but a permanent prison for the mind. Have you ever felt a sound that shakes you to your core, a noise so raw it doesn't even feel human?